Okay, so today's theme being just the neuroscience geek that I am, I always like to think about sort of what makes certain things work. And so the question here is, how does the brain learn new things, especially when it comes to behaviors or skills? There's a pretty predictable trajectory that we go through. So you think of a guy like Steph Curry, right? He's this amazing basketball player, and I guess we can believe on some level maybe he was just born with it all. But no doubt there's a lot of effort and time and repetition that goes into making him as skillful as he is. And so here are the four stages of competence. When we're little kids and we're first learning stuff, most of it's just trial and error, right? We're on the playground. We know we kind of want to be able to climb to the top of the play structure, but we're not quite sure how our legs and hands and all that stuff works. So we just try it out. We fall down. And the point here is little kids, and especially when we're learning new things, we are what's called unconsciously incompetent, meaning we don't even really know what we don't know. We don't know what's required to be able to do the skill well, or we just don't really have a good understanding of it. And then we start trying things out. We start learning. Maybe if you're a grown up, you start reading books or you watch YouTube videos and you're sort of trying to figure out, how do I get better at that? And so we enter this stage of what's called conscious incompetence. So now you start realizing that, oh my gosh, in order to be, good at this skill, there's all these things I got to learn, I got to figure out. And I become aware of how much I don't know and how sort of unskillful I am at whatever it is. So now I start coming up with a plan and I say, okay, I want to get better at playing the guitar. And now I need to practice my scales. I need to do all these different drills. And you eventually end up in this place called conscious competence. So we become better at something, we're skillful at it, but it still requires a fair amount of cognitive load, right? I actually need to concentrate, pay attention. There's a deliberateness to, I know how to do it, but it only works if I'm actually really present and really engaged in doing the things I know I need to do and not doing the things that you know make me fail at this task. And then we enter this last stage, which is called unconscious competence, which is we've done the skill so many times, like the amazing blues guitarist or someone who's just really skilled at playing their instrument. They're not thinking about it anymore. It's just unconsciously competent. And oftentimes, if you ask them, how do you do that? Like, break it down for me. They're so deep into their unconscious competence that they can't even really do that very well, right? They can't sit down and say, well, step one is this, step two is that. They've just been doing it for so long that they're just kind of like, yeah, it just works. So the cool thing is the same thing here applies to the skills we're working on here, and anything related to mindfulness or gratitude or patience or fill in the blank. It goes through these same stages. And oftentimes I think when I work with folks that are really struggling with their mental health, they have a sense of, sort of they're in that conscious incompetence stage. They know, like, yeah, and I know what I ought to be doing, but I just don't know how to do it. It takes a lot of effort, and I'm not that good at it. But with practice, like we do here, we slowly move into this conscious competence phase where it's like, yeah, I know how this works. I just need repetitions. I just need to keep doing more of it. And then hopefully one day we get to this place where it's like, I don't even think about gratitude anymore. It's just who I've become. It's just how I roll. So anyway, I thought let's explore that today, because I think it's oftentimes helpful to become aware of the underlying mechanics of how things work, and it just helps being able to see it a little more clearly. So close your eyes. Just take a moment to land, to settle in, noticing breath coming and going. Maybe you can even feel the blood circulating to your chest and into your limbs. Noticing sounds. noticing ourselves taking up space. Maybe setting the intention to just do some fun exploring for the next few minutes to see if we can learn something new. And so start off by thinking about something that you do really well, something that at the stage in your life comes very naturally to you. Maybe if you're Sam, it's riding your motorcycle. It doesn't have to think much about how to do it. Or, maybe it's a relationship with your kids. Doesn't matter, but just something where you can somewhat objectively look at and say, yeah, you know what? I'm actually pretty darn good at that. And now see if you can take a step back in time and remember long ago when you weren't good at it. Maybe it was as a kid, maybe it was as a young adult learning how to ride a motorcycle or a new skill and realizing, like, wow, I really knew very little at that point about what was required to become good at this thing that I'm good at. And then see if you can remember the stage where you started becoming aware of what it would take to actually get better at this. I guess as there was a fair amount of maybe frustration or even hopelessness at times, where you're just like, wow, this is really hard. I know what I want to be doing. I know what I ought to do. It's actually quite challenging. So I'm becoming aware of the all the things that I need to learn or what it's going to take to actually get better at this. And then maybe at that stage it became a really conscious, deliberate choice where you said, I really need to figure this out. I need to spend more time. I need to put deliberate effort into getting better at it. Or maybe it's just something that happened over time without you even putting that intentionality into it. You just, through repetition over weeks and months, probably even years, you just learned how to get good. You became skillful. Now reflecting on where you are now with it, looking at this skill that you observed that you're good at, just notice how easy it is for you to be that, right? It's less about you intentionally trying to do something. It's just become who you are. So that's that stage of unconscious competence. Like you don't have to think about it. You don't have to carve out deliberate effort to say, okay, what are the steps? How do I do this? It's just something that you have integrated into who you are. And now think of something, a behavior or a skill or a way of being that you tell yourself you'd like to get better at. So at this stage in the game, yeah, this is still something I struggle with. My life would be a whole lot better if I just got more proficient or more skillful at it. And see if you can identify which stage you're at. Like, is it just something really lofty where you're like, yeah, that would be great, but gosh, I have no idea where to start or what I need to do in order to get there? Or do you actually have a pretty good sense of, yeah, these are the things I need to work on and focus on. See if you can identify some of those. And then what's it going to take in terms of time and effort and attention to actually improve that skill, become more patient, more loving, grateful, whatever it is for you. It's the stuff you need to practice in order to hopefully one day get to this place where you are unconsciously competent. And it's just like, oh yeah, I've spent so much time practicing, rehearsing. This is just a part of me, a part of my life. And imagining yourself, sort of envisioning yourself somewhere down the line, and at some point in the future, sort of with a smile on your face, just going like, yeah, I'm actually pretty good at that now. Of course, depending on what it is and what stage you're at, it may take longer, or maybe you're really close. And of course, there's never like a specific point in time where you arrive or you've accomplished it all. But again, I'm hoping that this framework is helpful, just to remember that all of these things that we practice here, they're no different than learning how to ride a bike or play an instrument. Same holds true for kindness, generosity, love. And take a deep breath in. Long, slow exhale. Relaxing the throat, shoulders, the hands. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in and out. Slowly, intentionally, evenly, just pushing air all the way out. The belly, the chest, throat. Hold for 5, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes, come on back. We have time for today, but yeah, hope that's a useful reminder. I think it's helpful sometimes to sort of understand how things work, beneath the surface, because then it hopefully makes the intentions that we set out for ourselves a little more practical, or we can kind of see ourselves in that process. So um, have a great weekend, everyone. Happy May 1st. See you on Monday, hopefully. Take care.